Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to do hijack room from TryHackMe, so let's get started. First off, I'm going to start off with the Rust scan as usual. Rust scan dash A for providing target IP here. Dash U limit is for specifying the speed of the scan, which is 5000 by default. It is recommended by Rust scan and it is stable as far as I have tested it. And whatever you specify after these double dashes will be passed on to the nmap after the Rust scan identifies the open ports on the target IP. So Rust scan job is to identify the open ports as quickly as possible, and then these open ports are passed into the nmap scan. And we will see the command in a second. I'm going to press enter while I explain the stuff. And then dash A is the aggressive scan in the nmap, as you know. So whatever flags you specify after these double dashes will be passed on to the nmap. And then dash on is to specify that we want to save the output of nmap in the rustscan.txt file, which is um, a text file, of course. Okay, so we'll let this run. Oh, my bad, my bad, my bad. I actually didn't connect to that TryHackMe OpenVPN. Sorry. Okay, so let's do that again. Rust scan and then the IP here, and then it is running. I hope I was connected. So let us just test it. I'm going to ping the machine and it says, okay, we are now connected, I guess. Yeah, indeed we are. Okay, so let's run a scan and we have the results here. So let's open our browser and paste in the IP here because we want to see the port 80. And take note that I have burp suite open. I mean, it is intercepting request on port 8080, which we can see right here by going to the proxy tab under HTTP history. We have all these stuff here. So one thing I'm going to do here is go to the target tab, and then I'm going to choose this as our scope so that we only log this IP's entries, I mean the requests. So I'm going to say show only in scope items, apply, and we have only the results of this IP. Perfect. And even the proxy tab, you will be only able to see this IP request and responses from now on. So I don't want this extra mess. I'm going to delete it. So clear history. Okay, I cleared all the history, no worries. Okay, I'm going to turn off the dark reader. Well, let's just turn it on for your eyes. Okay, we have some pages here: home, administration, login, sign up. This site is still in the development. Quickly viewing the source code, we have nothing interesting except these entries. One thing I'd like to do off the bat is like checking for robots.txt file, which in this case does not exist, and we have the server version leaking here. This is 2.4.18. As far as I know, there is no vulnerability in 2.4.18 that we can exploit to get into the machine or do anything cheeky. So we're gonna skip that. We have the results ready. So let's check out the results real quick. While we check out the results, I want to run a GoBuster scan on this IP. I'm going to open a new tab by Control B plus C in Tmux to open a new Tmux pane, and I'm just gonna use FAF because it is much faster. Replace the IP here and then specify first keyword because we want to first the files. And then I'm going to use raft small words.txt and take note that this is a PHP website because we can see it is using PHP extensions. So if I browse over to administration, you can see it says access net, only the admins can access this page. Okay, so we will see all these pages just in a second. So we know that this is a PHP page, website. So I'm going to append.php here. Oops. And then run this. And we have the results already here. It says config.php. Okay, so we know that config.php exists, but we cannot see it because the PHP actually executes the code on server side and we have nothing to see on the client side, on the front end. And you can also see here it says size 0, which means there is nothing to see on the web page except it is just a blank page. We have login, index, sign up. We'll get back to this in a second. Let's go back to our scan. We have port 21 open for FTP. It is running VSFTPD 3.0.3. We can quickly check if there is any like vulnerability for this version. It was 3.0.3, right? Yeah. Okay. 3.0.3, and there is a remote denial of service, which we do not want in our case. But if you're doing a real penetration test, then this is a finding for, you can say, DOS vulnerability found in FTP server because it is using outdated version. So it actually affects the availability of the server, the CIE thread, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So this vulnerability actually poses a threat to availability factor of CIE thread. Next, we have port to open the SSH. We don't have any credentials to test, so that is why we're going to skip that. Next, we have port 80 open, which is running Apache 2.4.18, as we saw on the error page on the robots.txt file, and it accepts get, add, post, and options method. This is the server header. This is the title of the page that says home, as you can see right here, home. So this is where it fetches that from. We have HTTP cookie flags, PHP session ID. Okay, so it looks like we have cookies on this page. So if we say inspect, go to the storage, we can see here we have PHP session ID. And this session ID is kind of longer. Never mind. Okay, we have port 111 open, which is running RPC. And we also can see here NFS, which is network file share. So I believe network file share is also hosted on this uh, IP or the machine. Scrolling down, we can see here we have unlock manager and mountd, which signifies that network file share is indeed hosted on this machine. So we can check. If you do not know much about network file share, you can Google it, and you'll see that it is. Wait, let me show you. So we'll say network file share. It is kinda like Samba share. So you can actually share a folder on your Kali machine. Sorry, I did not explain it the way I wanted to. So let's say that this is my folder, the TryHackMe and Hijack, and I want to share this Hijack folder, the contents of this folder, to the public. So let's say I want this rustscan.txt file, which is inside the Hijack folder, to be available on public. So what I will do with NFS is I will share this folder, and the users on the internet will be able to mount this folder as if it is a real folder in their machine. And we're going to do that in just a second. So to enumerate what available folders are mounted on the target machine, we're going to use show mount command. So let me just clear that, and let's clear this as well. Okay, show mount -e, specify the IP of the machine, which is this. Press enter, and we can see we have mount share directory available for mounting. If you do not know, mount is a folder on Kali machine, as you can see right here. Okay, now I want to mount this folder, so I'll create um, a folder, and I'll name it NFS shares, or just share. Okay, now we have NFS share folder here, and as expected, this is empty. But now I'm going to mount this, and you'll see it will not be empty. Okay, something just happened, and my machine is not responding for some reason. I'm going to do that manually here. So this is our target IP, and I'm specifying now which folder I want to mount on my local machine from the target machine. So this is the mount share, as you saw before. And where do I want to mount it? I want to mount it right here inside the folder named NFS share. Press enter, and we can see it says fail to apply tab options. Just apply sudo here, and it works. It should work. It is taking some time, and we have it. So let's check. And yeah, one more interesting thing. When we created the NFS share, you saw it was owned by Kali, and the group was Kali too, because we were the one creating it, right? But when I mounted this, you can see it is owned by 1003. Now, 1003 is not a valid user on our machine. Kali is the only user, and then what the heck is this? This is the UID of the user that actually created this folder. So if I do ID, we can see UID is 1000 here. So we can say that so what happens when you mount a folder is, suppose I mounted this hijack folder, right? uh, I want to explain things in a clear way, so that is why grep hijack. Okay, so we can see this hijack is a folder and it is owned by Kali machine, sorry, Kali user. Now if I actually expose this folder, if I mount this folder in NFS shared for the public, so whenever someone mounts it in their local machine from the internet, their UID of the folder will be shown as 1000, because Kali's user ID is 1000. In the same way, in the target machine, someone's user ID is 1003. And that is why if we try to go into this directory, we will not be. It says permission denied, because this is owned by another user which does not exist on our machine. And we can see this folder has permissions set to be only read, write, or executable or interactable only by the owner of the folder, which does not exist on our machine. That user does not exist on our machine. So if it does not exist, what we can do is create that user, and that way we will be able to go um, like get into the folder. So even if I try to like do sudo, so let me just go to root, and if I try going to NFS share, it still says permission denied, which is a barrier, right? So I hope I explained that well. Okay, now we're going to create a user. So I'll say sudo user add, and we are going to supply the user ID as 1003 because this is the user ID it wants. Okay, and then we are going to supply the username as username. I just want to keep it really simple. And then we have the username created. Now, if I do like sudo username, I'm in the username terminal. Now, if I do ID, we can see it says ID is 1003. Perfect. Now we can actually go into this folder. So let me see what directory we are in. Okay, we are already in hijack. So let's do cd nfs share. Whoops, nfs share. It says cannot cd to nfs share. Let's see. That should work because here already is username. Nfs share cannot cd. Okay, we were not able to change the directory to NFS share, but we can actually list the contents inside the NFS share. And we can see there is only one file that exists. It says for employees.txt. So we are going to fetch that file. Now I'll say cat NFS share, NFS share for employees.txt. And we have the FTP credits in this file. Okay, we have some credentials here. Now we could actually also do this without doing sudo su username. I guess we can do that using sudo -u username and then supply the command that you want to use. So let's say ls manifest share, and that works as well. So we are actually a Scala user, but by supplying sudo -u, we are telling sudo command to execute this command as the permissions of username. So we are doing the same thing, but we are doing it with the help of sudo -u command. Okay, that is enough for this part. Now let's see. I'm going to save these credentials really good. We know that these are the credentials of FTP users, so let's just save that FTP, and we have that saved. Okay. Alrighty. Let's just close that out. And now we are going to do FTP. What was the IP of the machine? What was this? 21. Was the password. And the login successful. Great. So let's list out the contents of this folder, and we can see, okay, interesting things here. So there is a bash logout file, bash rc file, and then some files created by the user, like from admin, password list, and profile, which is a default file. So we have a couple of things to note here. If you have eagle eye, you have already noted it. This tab is not closing. Uh, Never mind. Okay, I'm really sorry for this mess. Let me get rid of this. Just give me a second, please. Okay, so we have that closed. I'm really sorry. Okay, so what was I saying is that this folder is actually, this FTP folder is a home folder of our user. How I can say that? So currently I'm in my local machine inside my home folder. So if I do ls-la, you'll see I have folders here that are by default in any user's home folder. You can see here we have bash rc file, which is bash rc file right here. We have bash logout, we have dot profile, and we also have dot profile in this home folder somewhere right here. What I'm trying to say is, with all this info, we can guess, or we have the confirmation that FTP user is a local user in the machine, and this folder is the home folder of that user. So we can guess that we are inside home folder of FTP user, inside which we have all these files from admin, password list, and .profile. So this is a good step of enumeration. So if somehow if you are able to get LFI on the machine, you may be able to include these files. But generally it is not possible because of the permission restrictions, as you can see right here, that these all files are owned by 1002 user ID, which is, I believe, the user ID of FTP user. So we generally get a shell on the box, like when you exploit a machine, you generally get a shell as www-data, which has the UID of 33, which is totally different than the UID of 1002, because of which you will not be able to include the home files of this user. But this is a finding because we were able to find a user on the box that exists. Okay, enough blabbering. Let's get to the point. So I'm going to download all of these files and get all, and I believe we have already files downloaded. Well, that is weird. We did not. Okay, let's get all these files. Maybe that works. It says failed to open file. Okay, never mind. I'm going to download this file from admin. Let us list all the files. So get this file also. We only have those two files as interesting files. Now I'm just gonna test if we are able to upload files on this share or not. So if I upload let's say our scan results, scan.txt, it says okay to send, data transfer complete. So it looks like we can upload the files, and yes, indeed we can. And we can see it has permission side of read and write only. And of course this file is owned by FTP user, so we will not be able to include this file in any way, even if we find LFI or RFI on the machine. Okay, so let's close that out, and let's see what interesting results we have on these files. So I'm going to do less from admin, and it says to all employees, this is admin speaking. He says that he came up with a safe list of passwords that you can use on the site. These passwords don't appear on any word list, so he is actually encouraging all of the employees to use any of the password from this word list. And it's a note to Rick. He says, good job on limiting login attempts. It works like a charm that will prevent any future brute forcing. Okay, so we have three things here. First, the passwords of the users are basically from this word list, and there's a second user on the box that is named Rick, and he has actually limited the login attempts, which actually prevents brute forcing. Okay, but we may be able to find any other way of brute forcing, or we may be able to bypass the country restrictions. Let's take a look at the password list. And these all are the passwords. Crap. Okay, we have a ton of passwords. So let's see how many passwords we have in the list. Go to password list, and we can see it says 150 lines, which is 150 passwords. Okay. Okay. So as per our enumeration, we know that admin is using a password from that word list. So if you go to administration, you can say it says access denied. We have a login page and sign up page. If we go to login, we have username and password. Oops. Username and password, and we can try some like admin, which of course will not work since that is not included in the word list. Says the password you is not valid. Let's go to sign up page. So let's try creating a user. So I'm gonna say still password as is still, confirm password as still. Usually, but I'm creating a like any user, I usually do it as admin and then the password. If I click on sign up, it says this username is already taken. So this, we know that admin user actually exists on this thing. We can also try for any other user like a Rick and then supply any password. Sign up. That message does not appear for this one. So this way we know that what users exist on this portal. So we know that admin exists, which is what we want to get into the administration page. Now let's try creating a user the usual way. So I'm gonna say still123 as a password. Sign up, and if the user created, let's take a look at the request that was sent to make this user. So this a post request was sent with the username Rick, password this, and confirm password this. You just created the user. Let's try login still, and then still 123 login, and we are logged in. Okay, if we try going to administration, it still says access denied. We can try to see the page sort, but there is nothing interesting here as well. Okay, so let's see the request. Let me increase the font size. I believe this is really small. Okay, this should be fine, I believe. Now we are logged in, and our PHP session ID has changed, as you can see right here. This says welcome still. The site is still under development, so we are logged in. Usually the PHP session ID is not that long. So right off the bat, when I saw this PHP session ID, I knew something is uh, weird. So let's take a look. So if I select all of this, the inspector in the Bubs suite actually tells me that this is the selected text that I selected, and it actually automatically decoded it from URL encoding to, so person 3D is URL encoded, which if we decode it, it comes out to be equals to, and then it actually decoded it again from base 64, and we can see the contents here. It says still, which is my username, and then some stuff here, which is likely a password hash. So we can quickly check that. Um, let's go to CyberChef. The reason I'm going to CyberChef but not the MD5 sum here, let me show you. So if I do echo, sorry, so the password I set was still 123, right? So if I try to like do MD5 sum of this, it comes out to be this, which is actually different from what we have. And we can actually check if this is the MD5 sum or not. So if I do echo, then LC-C to count the number of characters, it comes out to be 33. So paste in, wait, I'm doing still 123 as the input, and I'm going to MD5 encoded. Now this comes out to be the 69A, which is what we have here, 69A, and it ends with 1db5, 1db5. So we can see that our password is actually being encoded as MD5 and then being supplied in the cookie. But when I actually encoded this from our Kali machine, the stuff was different. I don't know why this happens, but it happens. Okay, so as per our enumeration, we know the cookie. Okay, so it is validating the valid credentials based on the cookie factors. Like if username is a still and the password is MD5 sum of the password we supply, it'll actually check in the backend if that password matches. So, and we saw that user rig has some restrictions for brute forcing on the login page, and I'm sure he has no idea that this is happening um, here. So if we are able to supply, like we can actually brute force the admin password this way. So if we supply admin here instead of still, and then the MD5 sum of those passwords that we have in the password list, we will be able to find a valid session cookie. Okay, let us try that. So we have a script to make using Python, which is going to do all of these actions. And since this is 2023 and we have open API, the ChatGPT 3, we're going to use that help. Okay, so this is going to be a long prompt. Let us focus on here. So we want a Python script. Let me think and write that down. I believe this prompt should do. Sorry for my bad English. Okay, and it is certainly says I'm very sorry, but I can't assist with that. Now we will have to modify our prompt. And just by changing the username from admin to still, we have the results here. Okay, let's copy the code, go back to our machine, and I'm gonna say nanoscript.py, paste it in here, modify the things. So we have the password list as, okay, I'm gonna say it word list or text, but I'm going to modify the file name. So the password list as word list.txt. Okay, it is word list. Okay, and then the page is for the get request. It is http URL is this. So if we have a valid PHP session ID of, like if we have the cookie of admin, if we supply that in this request and make a get request to this administration page, we will get the admin page instead of access denied, right? So that is what you are trying to do. So administration.php, and then it's enter get request, PHP session ID is PHP session ID, response code. Okay, what is the response code of this page? So refresh it, it says 200. Okay, and if we get a valid PHP session ID, it will still be 200. Now we have to modify our script once again. So I'll say that if the response of the request contains access denied, then print not valid. Otherwise, print valid with the line inside word list that was used. and we have that once again. Now I'm gonna copy that once again. I don't want to like copy only this stuff because I know this is the only stuff that was modified, but I'm copying the whole script again just so we know that yeah, something is not wrong, you know. Remove this. Nano. Oh god, my typing. That is 10, 10, 171, 121. Yeah. Okay, everything looks fine. Let's try running our Python script. Is the result not valid? Let it run, and we can see the PHP session ID that is generated for each request, and it is doing it in the correct format. We can see this is base64 encoded, and it is also URL encoded because at the last we have %3d, and it's still not valid. Did we miss something? Okay, it is not valid. Um, as soon as we get valid, we know that this is a valid password of admin. Let me decode it and see if it actually appended the admin or not. Okay, it is applying the still. Okay, we gotta change that. So where is it still? There we have it. I'm going to change it to admin, and we should be good to go now. Now we can see it says YWRTA, which is the basic word encoded of admin. Now we should be able to get admin real quick. Now if we were making this script manually, it would have taken actually half an hour as per my speed and knowledge. But with ChatGPT, we did that basically in just seconds. Cancel the script because we found a valid password. Is it valid? Copy the PHP session ID. Clear the terminal. That is optional. Storage. Paste that in here. Enter. Refresh the page. And ta-da! We have the administration panel and service status checker. Okay. Nice journey overall. It says provide a service name. If I provide the service name Apache 2, we have the Apache 2 logs. So this command is, I believe, service Apache 2 status, which has the same um, response. So whatever we specify is actually paused on in between this service and status. So like we can actually have command injection here. Like if I append these in, what do we say these? Backticks. So if I say who am I, we can see it says Kali here. Now we can do that in another way also. So I can say this like this, and it still says Kali. So these are two methods of having command injection. We can also try another way, that is, maybe that may work or not, I don't know. Who am I? Sorry. Supply another pipe here. Okay, that does not work. If I like this, so who am I? And we have here says Kali. Okay, let us just try that. So who am I? Enter. It says command injection detected. So it is filtering these special characters. So let's try the pipe, if that works or not. So it says command injection detected. So it is actually um, filtering out these characters. Now we can try the backticks, and there's no response to the backticks, which is a good sign, I believe. So if I say who am I, it says www dash data. Okay, we have a command injection. We can try this one also. So who am I? And we have www dash data. Okay, so these are two methods of having command injection on this box. Alrighty, so we can execute any command. Okay, now instead of I want reverse shell. Now this is a local script that I made on my machine, genrep. So what it does is it actually fetches. Let me show you, right? So echo. Now you may be wondering, where did I get this from? So when I actually execute this command, what it does is copies the base64 encoded version of bash reverse shell to my clipboard. So that is why I just pasted it, and we have the base64 encoded stuff here. Now I'm decoding it just to show you what the stuff is, and this is what we have. Now I'm going to use this one. The reason I'm not using the base64 version here, because my command will look something like this, like echo base64 version here, and then I'm going to use a pipe and base64-t. Now pipe, as you know, it is being filtered as command injection detected, which is not going to work. So that is why we are not going to use this one. Instead we are going to use this one because there is no pipe or semicolon here. So that is the reason. Okay, so let us just try that. So I'm gonna say oops, and this looks fine. So if I press enter, nothing happens. Whoops, nothing happens, and we also do not have any reversal. Now I'm going to modify it. I'm gonna say ben bash dash c, supply this, and what do we say this? I forgot the name. Oh my god. um Inverted commas? No, I don't know what are these. Okay, and then execute. It is still loading, which is a good sign. Good sign, good sign, good sign, and we have that. Awesome. So what I did there is, like, we were having this command, right? What it is was a simple trick, as most CTF players do. So ben bash dash c, and then our usual payload in these inverted, in these commas or whatever. Okay, this is how we actually did it. So when we supplied this inside our inside our input box, it did not work, but when we did it this way, it worked. So what did actually bash -c do that made it execute? Let us check that. So if I do man bash grep -c, we have a couple of entries here. Let me scroll up, and we have this. So if the -c option is present, then commands are read from the, okay, let me see. Okay, so if the dash option is present, then commands are read from the first non-optional argument command string. If there are arguments after the command string, the first argument is assigned to $0, and all remaining arguments are assigned to position parameters. Okay, I didn't get that. Maybe we can see that in explain shell. Let me turn off the burp, and let's see bash -c, and -c is what? Then commands are read from the string. Okay, it just makes it work. That is it. Sorry if I'm not explaining it the way I should. Okay, so let's see which Python. Okay, so we have Python. Let's check if we have Python 3 because we want a stable shell right now. Which Python 3? We have Python 3. Awesome. Gosh. Python 3 dash c import pty.spawn when bash, and then export term as xterm. Big on the shell, stty raw dash echo. Clear the shell, and we have awesome shell. Now if I do Control C, it will not crash. Okay, but it hangs a bit. Now we have config.php, which is what we want. This is the gold mine. Now username is Rick, password is this, never gonna give you up. So let's just save that as the password of my SQL pass. Okay, now we can enumerate our MySQL really quick. So MySQL dash show rec dash p, and say show databases. We have hijack and all other default ones. So let's say use hijack and show tables. And we have users. Select all from users table, and then we have entries as admin and its password still and its password. And we can also see it says failed login count. It's one account logged 0. Haha, we actually bypassed that section. So let's exit out of it. There's nothing interesting in the database, but we know that we have a password here that is never gonna give you up, right? And we know that a user exists on this machine, that is a rec. So if we do cat, wait, we do ls dash home, we can see two users here, and we also have the FTP user here as we guessed it, and we have the rec. So if I do sudo rec, and we have a password here also, so if we supply this password we may be able to get into this, and we are okay. That's good. So we can actually directly get into the box as SSH as direct user, and the IP is 10.10.171.121. Yes, password is this. Okay, awesome. Okay, never mind. And we have the user the text here. I'm not gonna see that, you have to see that. Now let's see how we can, oh whoops, I accidentally did that. Now we have to see how we are going to exploit our privileges. So if I do sudo dash l to see if we can execute any command as sudo supply the password, this is the command that we can run as root. apache2.conf. If in case you do not know that what a command does, you have ChatGPT, it's 2023, right? Supply this as here, and then say explain what does this do. And here we have a breakdown of the command. So user event has been Apache 2. This is a path to Apache HTTP server binary executable. It is an actual program that runs the web server. So we know that this has to do something with Apache 2 web server. Then this part of the command is it specifies the configuration file that Apache should use. It is telling Apache to use the configuration file located at this location. So it is telling the Apache to use apache2.conf configuration file, which has the settings and directives of the web server. Next is -d. This sets the base directory for Apache. It tells Apache where to look for its configuration file, modules, and other resources. Okay, so this whole command, if we combine it, it is actually about launching the Apache 2 web server on the machine. It has to do with the configuration file and where to look for the modules. Now it is telling that you should look for the modules on Apache 2 directory. If you roll your eyes up a little bit, see my mouse cursor where it is going, you'll see environment keep, suspense noise, environment keep LD library path. As soon as I saw this, when I saw the machine, I instantly googled about it. Nfkick keep privilege escalation. We can see LD preload method. Now we do not have LD preload, right? We have LD library path. So let's just do that. Now we have environment variables Linux privilege escalation. Open this one. We have a couple of other ones, but we'll take a look at this one first. Okay, so this says user to super admin. Okay, this is what we want. Now you can see here it says and keep LD preload and keep LD library path. Okay, are both inherited from the user environment. This is not what we are looking for, so we are gonna skim that. This is one that we want. So LD library path contains a list of directories which search for shared libraries first. Okay, so this is where it is going. So we're gonna do the Apache is looking for its modules and libraries in the etc Apache 2 folder. But now if you change the LD library path, it will look for all its libraries inside the folder that we specify, and this way we may be able to privilege escalate. How? This is explained right here. You can take a look at this blog. So first print the shared libraries of a program, like for the Apache 2. So we can do that. Let's see. So LDD Apache 2, Apache 2. Okay, I guess we have to specify the whole thing. Okay, we have the same response, right? It says use one of the shared objects in the list and we'll hijack it. Hijack by creating a file with the same name. So for this demonstration, they are targeting the libcrypt.so.1 file, which is this one. And this file exists in this folder, lib, but we have this permission, right? We are going to change the library path. So this is the content of this file for hijacking. So unset environment variable LA library path, set ruid000. I guess it has to do something with permissions of root user. So we are setting permissions as 000 as the root permissions, and then system bin bash -p to launch a privilege shell as root. Then compile the script. Okay, so I'm going to go into the temp folder. In the nano, I'll create a file named hijack.so. Is it .so? It is .c. Oh god, it's a C code. That's why. Okay, save that, and then we can just copy this command. So this exists in temp hijack.c. Enter, and this will create a file named libcrypt.so1 in the same folder. So ls-la, and we have this file here. Ignore these errors. These usually come up, but the script was successfully compiled. And finally, run Apache 2 using sudo while setting LA library path environment variable as temporary, where compiled shared object is located. So yes, we are using temporary one. So we're going to use that. So now what we have to do is sudo -l to see the whole command that we can execute as root. Copy this and do sudo, whoops, sudo ld library path equals temp, and then supply the command that we can execute as root. This is the command. Press enter, and notice what we are now, root. Hooray. Clear ID, you can see we are root. We can now go into the root folder, and we have the root shell. Hooray. Now one thing I want to find here is more about NFS share, right? So configuration file of NFS share is usually etc exports, I guess. Yes, it is. So we can see this folder, shared folder, which is inside the mount directory, is hosted with the read write permissions, sync permissions, and root crash permissions. More on these permissions later, some other day. But we can go into that folder really quick, like mount share, and we can see for employees or txt. Now, one more thing, let's go to home of folder of FTP user, and we can see we also have the rust.txt file here, which we uploaded from the FTP server, and it's owned by FTP user. And if you have www-data user, will not be able to include any of the files that are in this box in this folder, as I said a couple of minutes ago. So that is it for this box. I hope I covered everything. If there is anything that you may be wondering or I was not able to explain, please ask in the comments below. I'll see you next time.